Good evening, distinguished guests, member of the faculty, and my dear friends. Welcome to the second day of Conventus 2023, the annual management conclave of International Management Institute, New Delhi. Over the past 2 decades, the world has seen more changes than the previous 2 centuries combined. Conventus, rooted in coming together like digital transformation, unifies technologies and processes for purposeful innovation. It embodies unity and growth through digital tools. On this note, we are proud to present Conventus 2023.
My fellow compare Eshna Goyal and I, Sai Chawla, shall take you through the Digital Transformation Summit of Conventus 2023. This year, Conventus is structured around the theme Embracing the Winds of Change, Strategies for Thriving in Disruptive Times.
Nokia and Kodak serve as cautionary examples of how failure to adapt can lead to downfall in the ever-changing business landscape. They lost their dominance because they couldn't keep up with the market changes, while competitors quickly adjusted. On the flip side, Zerodha and PhysicsWallah demonstrate how innovative approaches can transform traditional industries through unique pricing and technology integration.
The theme, Embracing Change, emphasizes the crucial choice for businesses, either proactively adapt or risk falling to more agile competitors. Today, organizations must actively embrace disruption, not merely survive it. Innovative startups challenge established players, compelling them to reevaluate and pivot in response to evolving dynamics.
The current business environment echoes with the essence of rapid. Business must quickly adjust to disruptive environments. Unpredictable, geopolitics, economics, and societal factors breed business sector uncertainty, necessitating agile responses to unexpected disruptions.
Profound, current disruptions reshape industries and demand adaptability, staying updated, and fostering innovative collaborations for business success. Transformative, current interruptions alters ventures and scenes. Embracing these progressions is crucial for remaining significant and fierce.
In the fast-paced business world, succeeding in embrace disturbance, highlights the need for companies to adapt, innovate, and seize opportunities swiftly. Agility, innovation, and customer centricity are essential for navigating and thriving in today's ever-changing landscape. Embracing disruption isn't just a strategy, it's a necessity for survival and growth. Before we proceed further, we would like to play the Conventus 2023 theme video.
The pages of history remind us of the reality that our world can swiftly change its course. Events like pandemics, economic shifts, and unexpected crises echo through the fabric of time. Like a ripple effect, the consequences of these events rapidly reshape the present, creating the perfect chance to gear up and pave the way for an unforeseen future. Adapting to the RUPT paradigm that signifies rapid, unpredictable, profound, and transformative is essential to tread the waters where constant change is the norm. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, businesses that skillfully surf such changing tides, using hurdles as stepping stones and transform challenges into opportunities, emerge triumphant. To learn from their success, we must reflect on their experiences and grasp what sets them apart.
We are living in a perilous and enigmatic period where uncertainties are rife. But it is in these times that corporate leaders can truly show the way forward to the rest of the world. To share with us their valuable insights, we are honored to have our first panelist, Mr. Kanwar Singh, Vice President of Finance at Oracle, with nearly 30 years of finance and operations leadership experience at top corporations like Microsoft, Motorola, and Ericsson. He holds a gold medal in CWA and is a rank holder CA. Sir is a prominent figure in Oracle India and JPAC finance leadership, known for championing tech-driven finance efficiency in CFO events. He's dedicated to giving back through guest speaking at MBA institutes, mentoring students, and active involvement in running events, showcasing his global perspective and commitment to lifelong learning. Sir, we are honored to have you here. Now I'd like to request Dr. Irfan Rizvi to kindly welcome Mr. Kanwar Singh with a bouquet.
We are glad to have amongst us Ms. Manu Dangi, Chief Operating Officer at Egon Zender's Knowledge Center in India, with a remarkable 23 years career in research and analytics. Her leadership includes offshore business growth and a pivotal role in digital transformation at Egon Zender. Previously, she was country head at eValue Share India for 16 years, contributing significantly to the financial service sector. An industry collaborator through NASSCOM, ma'am focuses on diversity, innovation, and infrastructure in the Gurugram ecosystem. Ma'am, we are honored to have you with us here today. Now, I would like to request Dr. Rizvi sir to welcome ma'am with a bouquet. Okay. Now, we welcome our next panelist, Mr. Mayank Sinha, founder of Foodrick in South Delhi, a health-focused brand specializing in nutrition bars and bites. With a background in economics and extensive corporate leadership in healthcare in the UK and India, Sir holds an MBA with a gold medal from IFT, a master's in economics from DSE, and a bachelor's from SRCC. His diverse academic and professional journey uniquely positions him for success in the health-conscious snacking industry. Sir, we feel privileged to have you with us here today. I would like to request if Rizvi sir.
We are pleased to host Mr. Nishit Gupta, a visionary tech leader and co-founder of UX Hack. With 14 plus years of experience in digital product development and a background at organizations like Verizon and Infosys, Mr. Nishit Gupta is dedicated to scaling UX Hack, a talent platform for product and design professionals. He's an alumnus of IMT Ghaziabad and VIT Vellore, with featured insights in publications like CRM Buyer and TechCrunch. Sir is a thought leader and innovator, shaping the future of technology and design. We welcome you, sir. I now request Dr. Irfan Rizvi to kindly welcome Mr. Nishit Gupta with a bouquet.
Dr. Irfan Rizvi, a distinguished professor with 23 years of leadership and change management experience at IMI New Delhi, will moderate the Digital Transformation Summit. He has a PhD in management leadership styles in organizations and a rich career spanning WHO, DFID, and HCL Limited. Dr. Rizvi has also leadership positions at esteemed institutes like the University of Delhi and IILM Graduate School of Management. His extensive research, international lectures, and workshops for Fortune 500 companies reflect his commitment to individual and collective growth. We welcome him as an invaluable moderator today. Now, I would like to request our secretary, Kritika Gambhir, to welcome Sir with a bouquet.
Digital metamorphosis is about seeing disruption as an opportunity, not just a challenge. It's a journey of transformation in the business world driven by technologies like AI, blockchain, and IoT. It's a realization that disruption, with its 4 key traits, rapid, unpredictable, profound, and transformative, can push organizations beyond survival to thriving. This involves reimagining strategies, operations, and mindsets. In essence, digital metamorphosis is about turning disruption into a catalyst for innovation and growth in the business world.
Every journey comes with its challenges. In the realm of digital transformation, business face several hurdles. These include driving adoption of new technologies and processes, the lack of digital transformation strategy, inefficient data management, and the continuous evaluation of customer needs. It is crucial to address these challenges to succeed in the era of RUPT. Through the Digital Transformation Summit, we will delve into it and find solutions to these challenges. Now, I would request Dr. Irfan Rizvi to take forward the panel discussion of Digital Transformation Summit.
Good evening, friends. How are we doing? Listen, guys, you are not attending a condolence meeting, so cheer up. Okay, and we are going to discuss something very interesting, which you have been using all along. I hope it's not covering my face. You can see me? My friends on the dais and my dear friends on the other side. It's a pleasure to be standing here, to be a part of this wonderful panel and to not exactly shepherding it, but then moderating it so that we can extract in the little time that we have the best out of it. And I'm privileged for the Residential Affairs Committee to be giving me this opportunity. I don't know what Affairs Committee has to do with these kinds of seminars, but nevertheless, we are not going to question that. Okay? And all of us have been using technology all along, and do you know the difference between? Is there any difference between digital and digitalization and digitation? Being digital and being digitalized. Any idea? Good. At least something I can share with you. So with the entire concept of converting, you take remember you used to take photocopies, we still do, all right? And then we started scanning documents. Scanning is the process of converting something from paper to digital. So that is getting digitized, okay? Digitalized, so any product, any paper, etc. can be converted into a soft format, and that soft format is the process is achieved through digitization. My tongue is kind of twisting. Whereas when you look at the digitalization, it's the process which is converted from X to Y. So for an example, when was the last time you went to a bank or ATM? Most of us, or how much money do you carry in your pocket when you have to spend? So most of us tend to use our mobile phones to do all kinds of transaction. So entire process of dealing, paying money, receiving money has been what we call digitalized. And that in itself creates loads and loads of opportunities today, irrespective of the field that we are in. Okay? And I at times wonder, one of the best things that has happened to us is the mobile handset, which can do everything, right? So no one buys a camera now because it's there. No one wants to buy music because it's there. Visuals is there. Audio, so everything is there. And you want to exchange money, is there. And this is, to me, I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful instrument that helps us use it many ways that we want. So I'm cutting a long story short because we would like to hear from the panel. Plus, we would like also to have certain questions from you. When you look at the digitalized journey, the organizations that are represented here are multifarious. Mr. Kanwal Singh comes from, he's Vice President Finance, Oracle. So that's an interesting insight that we'll get about software, cloud application, and many other things that the company does and his past experience. Ms. Manu Dangi, she's a COO of Egon Zehnder, which is a knowledge center as we were talking during the break, before we came in here, that the kind of work that they do, I think it would be very interesting for you to know about that. Then we have two wonderful people who are occupying the space of startups. Is Mayank, founder of Foodric. I am very happy that I met him because he is into kind of very healthy food stuff, and probably I'll get some rebate when I buy his products. So you would get to hear from him as to how health conscious we have become, and how has he started using this particular technology or digitalization in his business to grow it. Okay, and then we have Mr. Nishit Gupta, very interesting gentleman who has UX Hack. He's also into hackathons and other things, and he's again in a very specialized kind of a space wherein he talks about operations and productions, and then how design thinking and how you can upgrade yourself. So I think we have a excellent mix of people, and there is one more gentleman who's supposed to join in, is kind of running a bit late, Mr. Mohit Khurrana, who is Vice President Digital Marketing and Growth, Unicorn Tech Media, which is a digital advertising company. Okay, so we have a very eclectic mix of people who would be throwing light on it. And just to give you an idea as to how digitalization has touched every industry, it has touched your life, my life, and every industry's life. And anyone who is not on this digitalized space while you are doing business today, probably you will be thrown out of. You know the story of Kodak. You know the story of many other companies who just went bonkers, could not survive just because they could not meet up with the changing technological ecosystem in the organization. So this entire thing has media and entertainment has been impacted big way. So you don't, today, it's a surprising thing that yesterday a newspaper used to be published only in one place, Delhi, and then it will be airlifted to many other places. Today, nothing of this kind can be done. It is created at one place, designed, and then sent across to various places where it is printed easily. So newspaper industry, entertainment industry, I don't have to really talk about, because you guys tend to spend more time with Netflix and other such entertainment channels than your books. So you know it jolly well what you are up to. How the music industry has changed right from tapes to vinyl tapes, vinyls, and then tapes, and then spools, and then today Walkman came in, and today what we do, we carry huge amount of music in a small chip. In the technology products and services sector, has been a rapid change. Technologies such as cloud and analytics have emerged. We have Internet of Things, 3D printing, augmented and virtual reality, blockchain. All these are reshaping businesses. Okay. Unfortunately for us, we don't have any from the manufacturing side. Probably they would have thrown a little more light on this. Then we have financial services, okay, which is, as I was talking about last time, to the bank, and how do you send and receive money. Unfortunately, black money still has to be kept in paper form. Probably we'll arrive when we convert the black money also into digitalized kind of a space. Then we have the retail sector, okay, wherein how a company deals with its customers, suppliers, etc., whether it is B2C, B2B, or D2C, whatever space they are operating in, as you have your own experience. The other day I was looking into what we call Amazon Go. You go onto the YouTube and you walk in, you don't have to pay anything, money is deducted. That's the kind of space we are moving in today. So that's retail. Big way the technology is being used for what you call customer profiling, so that you can have very specific targeted approach towards marketing your product and so forth. Similarly, the other spaces are telecommunications. We all of us are consumers of WhatsApp, Skype, Spotify, and now XYZ, all kinds of stuff coming in. Okay, data has become a big driver, because data is being used in a big way in terms of taking very precise decisions, which is, in a large manner governed by the technology that is being used. And last but not the least is the education space, wherein We are using big way the infused technology in terms of teaching. So MOOCs is there, and wherein massive open online courses, the audio visualization of the content, and all this is to make the content of what we want to teach more accessible, more affordable, and to reach it out to anywhere who are sitting anywhere. But my only lament vis-a-vis this is concerned is, as we have been discussing, at the end of the day, when you're looking at online MOOCs, etc., ultimate factor that decides all this is the desire on the part of the learner to learn. So you may have access to all kinds of knowledge, all kinds of content, but if you don't have the desire to learn, it still doesn't work. And I'm quite confident that you are being very, very lucky to be at IMI, wherein you have these kinds of offline teaching learning processes. Those who have been through, all of you must have been through the online classes also, and you must have experienced how big a challenge it has been. I don't know about you guys. Must have been great fun lying in your bed with your laptop on and camera off. And here is this guy who's supposed to be a teacher, shouting at the top of his voice and asking you to open your cameras. You open it for a few seconds and then off you go. So I have huge issue with digital technology in terms of teaching, learning, but then this is my lament. We don't have to really bother about. So this is what we are going to talk about, how digitalization has transformed everything in the business world, and our specific focus would be on some of the industries which are represented here in the panel. The format is very simple. We are going to raise certain questions and we will invite the panel members to speak for some time. Since the time, it's 7:09 already. All right, so what time are we supposed to? Huh? 5:10 now. So are we wrapping it up at 5:30? 1 hour from now. All right, so we have little bandwidth. So we'll try to keep ourselves very crisp in terms of discussing the issues. And then, as I said, that we'll definitely try to give at least 15 minutes for your. And may I request Sai to keep an eye on the time, so that if things are going slow, every 15 minutes give me a signal so that we can expedite the process. So let's get going. And there are mics on your table, so you can sit there and speak up your mind. Let's take up the first question. And the first question is, what is your take on the entire digitalization process while working in your own organization? What kind of digitalization have you gone into in your organizations? What were the reasons that you went into? And how has been the outcome? So basically 3, digitalization in your own organization, in your own business. What kind of digitalization, where, and what has been the outcome? My request would be, we can 5 minutes each will do, thereabouts, and anyone can set the ball in motion.
So good evening, everyone. I guess some of you, if not all of you, have heard me before, so I'll straight away jump into the question which Dr. Rizvi has asked. I represent a finance guy who's worked largely in technology industry. Okay, so Ericsson, Motorola, Microsoft, Oracle. So I also represent a generation which has seen manual books of accounts, and which today is not just witnessing but advocating to the broader finance world an era which is driven by machine learning and AI incorporated into the apps that we are using. Okay, so getting to the brass tacks in terms of how much of the organization is digitized. I'll give you a very simple example. I still carry this pen. I haven't used this for my official purposes in last 15 years. Nothing. all our approvals, and it is not just Oracle, I mean, even my previous employers, everything is digitized, end to end. I still remember, in 2000, early 2000s, I was joining Motorola. My first day, and they said, here is a machine, can you fill up your joining form? This was about 20 years back. Okay. Now, all of that is already done before you join. So, so there is end-to-end digitization for sure. How has it helped? It's helped in many ways. First of all, take one concrete example. Companies used to take 2 months to get to their quarterly results. Annual results used to take longer. There was something called trial balance, which will not tally. There was something called suspense account. All of that is history. Any given point of time, any given second, you can draw a trial balance, it will tally. Right? Now, a company like Oracle, 140 countries, listed entities in US and outside of US, we publish our accounts with SEC filings, 10K filings in 10 flat days, not 10 working days, 10 days. Which means what? The books have already closed the time, the clock strikes midnight, books are closed. So that's one big leap, right? But it's also a big leap for human beings, people like us, people like you who are joining the workforce now. The quality of work that we get to do is significantly different from what the previous generation did or what even I did 25 years back. And that's a significant change. I think the human productivity behavior itself has undergone a significant change. We are all very comfortable with some very digitized electronic devices at this point of time. This was not the case. Okay? But we are also very uncomfortable without those digitized devices, which makes me uncomfortable because you should be comfortable even without them. That's not. You don't require a smartphone to tell you breathe in and breathe out. Okay? You can do it without it. Okay? So that's one part. Now, is this the end of the journey? No, the journey has just started. The digitization or automation or standardization, there are different words which have been used. Okay? It's not about terminology. The fact is that if you've already not heard, you can go back and check. In the US today, one of the very prominent companies funded by probably the richest person in the world, he keeps switching between the richest and the second richest. They are inviting volunteers for a chip to be incorporated in those people. Okay? The smart device which we are so proud of and we spend tons of money, my belief is this will be history very soon. You will be the smart device. I'll just hand it over to my next speaker. I think that's just for the starters.
You guys are going to be smart device down the line, and he has not used his pen for quite some time. I mean, 15 years to be precise. And so, as they used to say that pen is mightier than sword, probably that they have to relook into this phrase. All right. So, who would like? To, oh, you still carry? Yeah. So, would you like to take on?
This is my guy.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm an alumnus, so I feel very, very proud to be here, very happy to be here. I remember the time when we used to have classes here. Dr. Sodi used to teach us marketing, and Dr. Chawla used to teach us econometrics. It was very tough. Dr. Chawla would come in and close the door, and then if you're even 1 minute late, you cannot enter. So it feels very happy to be back here. And I can remember the time when I was sitting on the other side and looking to learn from the professionals. So obviously it is a time, I won't say give back, but it is definitely my pleasure to be able to share something that I've learned over the years. So I represent Egon Zender. Egon Zender is a professional services firm. Compare it with a BCG or a McKinsey. We do consulting in the very senior level talent space. So we solve the CXO and board level talent challenges. And it could be finding a leader. It could be developing and transforming them to reach their potential, or it could be helping the board and the executive teams with the succession, the governance, the review, all of that. So it's completely end to end, and I've represented that industry for the last at least 22, 23 years. And you can think it's so easy for a manufacturing to be digitalized, but very difficult for a consulting to embrace technology, right? Because it's what humans do. But if I look at my organization, in every sphere, in every aspect of how the companies work, we have embraced technology. So you talk about finance. Kaul was talking about closing the books. We also take pride to say we are trying to close. We are at 5th day, so every month, 5th day, globally all books are closed, but we are trying to bring it to the 3rd day, right? You might think what's so important about closing the books, right? But that's what drives everything, right? In the world where things change so fast. Talk about HR, everything within HR is on digital platforms. So if you want to hire someone, your requests, your candidates, all of that flows through a system where you can go and pick and add comments, etc., etc. Notifications do go to your candidates, to your hiring managers, all of that happens. The main consulting that we do need information, which is basically the data on our clients and candidates. That's also on a digital platform. When you enter the firm, you have a facial recognition system which recognizes you and then captures your attendance, right? So your first point of contact itself is digital. We obviously embraced technology long back, but digital transformation is not like you start and stop. It goes on. And it's also very relative to what we're talking about. I can't say we are fully digital because someone else can actually be at a next stage of digitalization or digital technology or transformation. So yes, we are on a journey for the last couple of years, and I think we will continue on that journey forever. But we're in the midst of changing our business platform, which is a very, very massive transformation that's happening, very difficult one. And I know there would be some aspects which we will discuss towards the end. So I'll keep that part for the end. But I don't think it's a choice anymore to say I want to have a digital transformation or not. That's the very basic, that's a hygiene factor now. If you aren't embracing digital technology or you're not changing digitally, you cannot survive. So it's an imperative. Now, how do you really then derive the returns and the benefits out of that digital transformation is what distinguishes one organization from the other. So while you may be very, very digitally savvy and your everything, operations, sales, marketing, everything can be on a digital platform, but are you able to actually utilize the ROI as well as another competitor is and will be the key differentiation among the industry. Right? So I know we are on a fast drive, so I'll hand it over to Dr. Rizvi.
Thank you very much. We did not know, because your intro did not mention that you are a product of IMI. Which batch were you? 2001. All right. So would you like to give a clap to the Gharwapsi? That does not take away from the three of us, we are also part of it now. She has been there with us. All right. So thank you very much. You cannot get away without infusing technology. That's the only way available. Now we move on to, no particular order, but since Mayank is next, so, so we'll go by that. Food RIC. So Mayank, I would request you to start with the RIC part. Food part, I understand. The RIC part, you would like to, educate us into what is this RIK, okay? And some ideas come to my mind, but I'm not going to say it. And then, since you are a few years old company, 3 years as I recall, as we were discussing, so which you have started off when the digitalization was very much up in the air. So therefore, I would not say that you infused technology, you started with this technology. So what is the state, how do you use this technology, and what kind of values that it has added to you? Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Take this one. No. Take this one, and then in the meanwhile we'll set this one.
So thank you for inviting me here. So yeah, how does the name come? Because I think when you start as a founder or as a startup, you think you're very smart. So food and drink, you move it's a mixture of food and drink. Then later on in your journey, you realize that as a consumer brand, you don't need to be smart, you need to be clear. So if I'm selling a health food product, I should have perhaps called it a yoga bar or a healthy company. So keeping that aside, so I think what is interesting is that some of the themes which are here, and Kanwalji, I in fact use the pen right now to make some notes.
That's fine. That's why I carry on.
I think what is interesting is that as a company and having worked in the corporate world for the last 15 years, so I won't talk about that because we've got two experts there. And we were talking about digitized and digitalization. So for a startup, what is important? It is important efficiency. It is important that as a consumer brand, we spend money on sales, we spend money on marketing, we spend money on brand development, which means I don't want to spend time on admin, HR and other things. So I was actually making a note. I think one concept that was here is that if you don't disrupt, disruption is happening, the Kodaks of the world might happen. But interestingly, if you see, the large organizations still exist in this whole digitalization space. But there are a lot of new organizations. So we were talking about, let's say, a Baiju or a EdTech, but the IMIs also go on and eruditus also goes on. So when I started, because the whole focus was to be as digital as possible, so what has one used? And many of these are unicorns and known companies. So one has used Shopify. One has used QuickBook or Intuit for the accounting purposes. One has used, obviously, the Google workspace to get the emails and everything. And I'm talking about a very basic brick and mortar or a D2C company. One has used Zoho. One has used Canva, which again is a $1 billion plus. One has used Freshdesk. One has used MailChimp. For hiring, one has used LinkedIn. One has used Angel List. I think it's called something else now. Even Naukri is fairly digital, right? I mean, you still need to call those guys up. Even for the health insurance, there is a health tech platform which is pretty simple. Yeah, quite a few do it. So as an entity, as a new entity, we were talking about, let's say, Gonzender going through a transformation because it's a huge organization which needs to transform. I was very clear that we need to be as digital as possible. And it's pretty remarkable that when I was making notes that I've used so many, which also means that I wasted a lot of time using quite a few of them. I'll come to a lot of other points, and this is internally. But the interesting part that has happened is that when one has switched from D2C or e-commerce to a more offline focused model, I was making a note, perhaps 80% of them I have let go of the subscription because the real world or the Kirana stores or the modern bazaars of the world, they are not as digitized or they have not embraced digitalization. So all these tools don't exist. So we'll talk about that, but I think it is now a given that one has to embrace technology. In your workspace, these are things which are enablers, and the faster you understand it, the better it is. And perhaps you'll be working in such organization and you'll understand the disruption. I think one last 30-second point, that I like to make is that previously there were barriers to entry for any new entity to enter, let it be FMCG, let it be finance, let it be education. Digitalization has enabled a lot of new entities to break that barrier. But that doesn't mean the large organizations don't exist. They still exist because there's untapped demand, unmet demand, which is being served by these entities. So just a few points which I thought I'll mention.
Thank you very much. I think very valid point, and this very interesting is that now it has become a very level playing field and very egalitarian, that anyone who has an idea can, the entire technology space has made it available to everyone. Thank you. Last but not the least, Nishit, your take.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I think I am the odd one out of just thinking that these two have done some lectures, right, previously, and she's an alumnus. So mine is the first time in IMI, hopefully not the last. Okay. So I am also, my whole professional life has been into digital. So unlike I think all three have brought some different perspectives. And I am since currently running a startup, a digital startup. So let me give you, I'm not obviously forecaster, but basis, since I have been into digital, let me first give a 10-year horizon, what I see, how digital is going to disrupt both businesses and individuals' life, okay? So I see within next 10 years, we will see many million-dollar businesses running with just 1 or 2 employees. That is a reality. Already I think there are few who are doing this. In fact, if I talk about us, we are just two, myself and one other co-founder, that's it. And we are bootstrapped, completely remote, and hopefully we'll soon hitting a CR of a business. So, and we are able to do it because of plethora of what even Mayank mentioned, because we use a lot of digital tools, our internal processes are digitalized, so we don't need to add a person to do that task, okay? Second trend that I see, even for large corporates, I think in next 10 years, definitely I see that a lot of people management roles will get blurred, and businesses will need hard skill for in each and every individual. So, because I think this, even I have worked in Infosys, so I know that there was a lot of what we call bloat, earlier, and a lot of that got churned out when there was a downsizing happened. So this is again a trend because of digitalization. And third point that impacts, I think, as an individual, what I see again a trend will be that one job at a time will be a thing of the past. I think a lot of you, I think in 10 years down the line, will be working or contracting, multiple things at a time. And that again will be because of, there are a lot of, because these new tools have come up. I think you would have heard words like generative AI, right? Very, and this has really disrupted, right? So far it was all about, rule-based thing. But what OpenAI and now, everyone, Google and Microsoft all are doing, they have actually now stepped where I think a lot of jobs will get impacted, which are procedural in nature. But if you are creative, if you, what I call, if you are able to innovate, then you will always be a step ahead, right? So, but because of generative AI and no-code kind of technologies, lot of productivity will be improved, and thus a lot of jobs will get churned. So these are the main trends that I wanted to highlight. Yeah.
Thank you. Makes a lot of sense. So looking at my watch, it's already 17:31, which means 5:31. So we have another half an hour. So we will not go through all those questions because thankfully some of the things which would have come next as a question you have already answered. So let's take a leap and move on to, while you are using technology, as that technology has become so egalitarian and the cost of technology is coming down. So therefore it is, would you still call it that you need to have deep pockets to be able to infuse technology in your organization? Or, even with a small amount, you would be able to, particularly in the context that there are two people representing huge organizations, okay? And there are two who are kind of more, what you call cottage industry, okay? So we would like to have that perspective very quickly, maybe 2 minutes each. Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Rizvi, for asking this. You know, this is a question which is usually asked when I'm interacting with CFOs. And you know that, hey, we have to kind of adjust between the cost of technology and the benefits that we get out of it. And there's no mincing the words that technology has a cost. It has a research and development cost, and hence there is a price attached to it. Per se, right? So it does come at a cost. However, the point is this, you know, point is that for every business of a certain scale, there are different levels of technologies and, should I say, applications available which cater to different segments. So a startup does not necessarily have to go on a large-scale ERP which works in a complex manufacturing distribution setup. Not required, right? And my friend didn't even mention an ERP when he was talking. You know, yeah, he mentioned one tool which does take care of accounting and all that, but that's integrated. So there are now enough segmentation happening within technology per se to cater to different segments per se. And large corporations have realized this. My current employer as well as my previous employer, you know, I mean, there are products and services which cater to certain, you know, segments. More importantly, I think the very concept of technology getting into every business segment has one element which is often ignored. And that element is the sense of ownership. Today, if you really start thinking, we don't own anything. We are using it as a service. Take music, you use it as a service. Spotify is a service. Amazon Prime is a service. You don't own that anymore. Okay? Same thing when you come to, let's say, a startup. A startup wants to, you know, startup. So in the good old days, if there was a startup, let's say even 15 years back, say, okay, let's buy some computers, let's buy a server, let's buy this software, a license, da. So there is a sense of ownership there, right? You are buying hardware, you are buying licenses, so there is ownership, then there is maintenance, and then there is AMC and all of that. Today, everything that my friend mentioned is a service. He just needs a terminal to use it. The data that he is putting on that is secured, but it is not secured in his machine. It is secured in a cloud services center. It could be Oracle, it could be Azure, it could be AWS, you know, those three are the largest one, or it could even be Google Cloud. So that sense of ownership is something that we have to be aware of, and that has long-term implications on how businesses are run and how humanity will evolve in the you know, coming period. Now, I know we are constrained for time, so I'll just pause.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very valid point you made. We don't have to own it, but we have to use it. Your take, Manu.
And if it was difficult, that we will not see. If technology cost was, if embracing technology meant spending a lot of cost, then we won't have Mayank and Nishit sitting here. Plus, we won't see what's happening in the banking industry. Have you heard the term called death by 1,000 cuts? Right, you have. Which is that the big banking giants, if they don't innovate, they will be eaten up by very, very small players who are working in niche sectors and niche industries, right? Banking is a behemoth who does everything. But if you look around, all the fintech companies which are focusing on very, very niche areas, they're actually giving very tough competition to the banking industry, right? And that proves the point that technology cost will not be an issue in the future. And as Kamal said, you could always use it as a service. So absolutely not. I remember when we used to do SWOT analysis, technology used to be one of the threats and bottlenecks. It's no more the case. If I want to start a startup today, I can just plug and play tomorrow and start it.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. Mayank?
No, I think what Kanwal said, I was thinking about it, is a very interesting point about ownership. And maybe again, I like to, because I'm now on the other side, talk about the aspect. So ownership also means owning the data. And data is king. I think when I worked, I used to keep hearing data, but now I understand that why data is so powerful. To give you a real example, if you're a D2C firm, there is a cost of acquiring a customer, and that's where the Facebooks and the Instas and so on come in. But once you have the data, you can use that data efficiently in terms of retargeting, understanding the consumer behavior, and so on. Now you decide to go onto an e-commerce platform. Let's pick up Amazon. As a consumer, you want same-day delivery, you want fresh, and so on, which means you've got to put products in their fulfillment centers to provide efficiency. So as an entity, I love it, because all I have to do is supply product to their fulfillment center. There is a dashboard, I run ads, I create everything online. Literally, I would say it's a little lazy. You can sit in an office and you can run a business all over India. Everything gets shipped, but now I don't have data. And the problem that I face is, because I don't have data, I don't know who the consumer is. I cannot retarget the consumer. To retarget the consumer, I need to pay Amazon money that retarget people who bought. I do not understand what is the buying behavior of that. So I think what Kanwal is saying is very, very interesting, is about the ownership of data. And I think the next point which he mentioned is, as the organization grows and what is the need for the technology. And I think that's very relevant for all of you, that depending on the organization you work, the Microsofts and Googles and Oracles have only got bigger and bigger. And why have they done that in this whole disruption is because of what he's talking about. And I think another important aspect is M&A. Perhaps you guys will want to work in that. A lot of disruption is taken care of by just buying that entity. And a lot of VC-funded entities are in the tech space because they hope at some point of time they'll be acquired by a bigger entity. So I think these are all nuances which are interesting. But I want to think about, Kanwal, what you said, because it's a deeper philosophical thing, and it requires thought.
Okay, thank you.
Interesting. So I'll give a real example of how startups behave differently in terms of adoption of tools. Absolutely, technology has a cost, right? Even all the service that we use, while it is SaaS, we can pay per month, but still for a startup, it can hit cash flows. So I will give you one. So all of you must be using social media, right? Either Facebook, LinkedIn, right? And that is one of the marketing activities that any business does, is they want to publish posts, right, on different channels, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And one of the SaaS tools, there in the market, where you put one time your content and you can publish in one go in all the channels. That is a simple service productivity improvement. But that comes at a cost, right? So there are popular players like Hootsuite, Buffer, if you know, right? So, but they cost like $10, $15 a month. And now, but as a startup, we also have to do, we are there in all the channels, right? So this is where the deception came in, that we leverage no-code tools, the new technologies, and without writing a single line of code, I was able to create a social media publishing framework for ourselves. Okay, and so that is also a service. That is also I'm using a tool, but I was, without writing any single line of code, I was able to create a publishing tool for our needs without spending a dime. So that is what how we are able to leverage the new innovations that have come in the technology.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, please do. Please do. No, there is one.
Yeah, sorry.
No, this is perfect. Okay.
I think if you want to, there's a differentiation, right? If you want to use technology, then a lot of shared and service technology options exist. But for a company, when you run a company, right, there's definitely a cost of technology. Because if there was not, CTOs and CDTOs will not be fired. Okay, one of the biggest questions today, I mentioned that we are going through a technology transformation. We are bringing in more advanced platforms that are more easy to change, more modular, and where we can actually embrace a lot of the recent technology changes like generative AI, right? However, there are two costs that are very, very clear and big ones. One is the cost of failure if people do not embrace it, right? And second is the cost of delay. And there's so much pressure on our digital transformation team that we have to deliver. The longer you delay the transformation, the longer the legacy platforms continue and the longer the risks of business operating in a sort of a difficult environment, right? So those indirect costs always exist. And there's always, that's the reason when I first spoke about digital transformation, I said ROI. ROI is essentially the cost, right? But yes, if you want to do something, then you don't have to own technology to start, and you can very easily plug and play for your business.
Thank you. Thank you. Now it's 5:43. Okay, so we'll speed up. Now we'll reduce the time, and next time around we are going to begin this way. Okay, so that he doesn't feel that he is hemmed and everyone has taken the time.
Now you know who's delaying it, right?
I didn't want to say that, but you are not. All right. No, you said something alarming, is that down the line there would be organizations who will doing $1 billion or $1 million businesses with one or two people, as you guys are doing. Now, that doesn't worry me. Sorry? No, you are inching towards it, and that doesn't worry me because by then I will be hanging my boots and there would be some kind of a mala hanging on my photo. So, but then major concern for youngsters, particularly now look at macro picture. India, 140 crores and so forth. So we want everyone to become a customer and we do not want anyone to be a worker. I mean, this is what is there. And though it is customers can be workers and workers can be customer, but the kind of model that you are proposing, so that raises a question and probably we'll not try to get into, but then this is food for thought for all of us if this is what it is. The question that I would like to raise is that a very hackneyed something, I come from the OBHR area, work with people closely. So how do you look at, so technology is an enabler, okay? And it can give you a reach all over the universe. For example, particularly two of you, these guys are already have the global footprints. But technology enables you to sitting here, any nook and corner of the country you can be. If I pose this question as to AI versus HI or human intelligence, okay? Slowly, so the involvement of people, you just need to know, for example, when you look at, something like ChatGPT or Setrobi, so the most important thing is the prompt, okay? It's only the prompt that a person has to give, rest of the things are done by the AI behind it. How do you see this shaping of the society of tomorrow? This is a question which we did not discuss the other day. But nevertheless, I want you to maybe take a pause for 30 seconds and think, how is it going to AI versus, human intelligence, HI, and what would be the shape of society tomorrow when you look at this transformation which is taking place? And this is open to anyone to begin with. Okay? No, so you can.
No. So
not necessarily. I mean, if he's not ready, then,
No, obviously, so that's a obviously very valid concern, I think, which AI has, given to humanity, like what will happen if all the jobs are gone. But this is my fundamental belief because AI has been developed by humans, right? So I have that strong belief that AI can only tackle what we have already, or what has been already fed it, right? And while they have come into the generative stage, they can, but still they are able to generate because there is a data that has been fed to that system, correct? And over the time, see, where we are, I think, one notch above is because we are able to deal with, EQ, what we say, emotional quotient, or any new situation that comes in. I don't think AI will be able to handle it that well, or how we will be able to respond. I think still AI has not touched that domain, right? I hope it doesn't go till that far. So that is where I think human has an edge, will always have an edge. And that is why I think the one big takeaway for me, if you want to remain one step ahead of AI, it is just be curious and, how do I say, like, be a problem solver. I think that is something I see missing big time, especially in our education system, in India, where we focus more on, the theoretical aspects. So that is my take.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah. So I think a couple of things you mentioned about 140 crores, right? And I think why it's interesting is because having worked in typical corporates, then having a completely digital D2C space and now offline. So that 140 crore is, as we say, the Bharat, right? And it doesn't mean consumers, it even means employees. So let's say my modus operandi is that how much employment can I generate? And I think that provides a meaning to the organization. Some of the things which you need to know is that when we're talking about AI and so on, is that it is basically linked to the service, knowledge, technology space. But if you break it down, let's say the agricultural space in India, you talk about the retail, you talk about manufacturing, brick and mortar manufacturing, AI is not a consideration there. So yes, it is a disruptor, but there are a lot of open spaces, brown spaces, green spaces where technology has actually not reached. And what is the impact of the new technologies or AI and so on that's going to have an impact? I think that is worth thinking. One other small aspect that I'll maintain, I'll talk about is that when I was making notes, I realized that even though it is a normal product, which is a nutrition bar and cookies, but I just realized that in the last 3 years, we've not handled any cash. There is no cash in the business, which is remarkable. And what that means is that when you go to the retailer, he's completely non-digital. There is no email. Only thing that works is WhatsApp. Only thing that they now use digital is for GST, so they have to use a software. Everything is I would say non-digital, but Paytms of the world exist. So his payments from customers are through these platforms, and they're very used to now using that. But if they have to make a payment to the company, they will do it on a check because they know the check can be made to bounce. So what I'm trying to say is that once it's a very interesting transition that is happening in this country where something is completely evolved and a lot of things are completely uninvolved, which also means that you guys have a lot of opportunities in terms of as founders. I never ask anyone to be a founder. It's, I think, the toughest thing that one can do. But in case you do, there are a lot of open spaces, and these spaces are scalable, and that's why these entities in the tech space have become so big, because they have a technology which is scalable across geographies, across consumers, and that's what makes them so big.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So Meg spoke about the opportunities, but I know a lot of you would have that question in mind since you asked. But what happens to, and I'm just answering in your context, that you're going to join jobs. How does that impact you, right? The first thing is this war is not new. It's been happening for the last 20, 25 years, right? India technology hub. Aren't we still getting jobs after jobs from the Western world? We are. So I don't think any chat GPTs, any artificial intelligence will ever replace humans. It hasn't in the last 20 years, and it will not. It will only enable. So any AI, etc., will only enable or augment what you already do. But it definitely is a threat if you put the, if you think about what technology has done to Kodaks, etc. By the way, next time I'm in IMI, I want another example. Kodak is very old. So we should look for new business examples that have been disrupted completely by technology. Okay? Yeah, absolutely. But what it means for you is, don't stay comfortable knowing and doing what you're doing, right? You need to, if technology comes in and does part of your job, then you need to move on to doing something else. And as Mayank said initially, our education system, or Nishit, you said, our education system hasn't changed. So therefore the onus is on us to evolve and to stay competitive and stay relevant to the market. So the key here would be, how do we stay relevant in the so fast changing environment? By the way, I did say that technology didn't change anything in the 20 years. It hasn't replaced humans. But the speed at which it is changing today, it's definitely in some shape and form a threat if humans do not look at what they can do, right? If technology were to replace us, we will not exist, right? Our only job, if you think about, is talking to people, understanding and making them more capable, etc., right? What we do, small part of business, is search, where we bring the candidate, we bring the client, and we, of course, all of this is augmented by technology. But the last bit, which is actually conversion, is all human, right? It's not that here is the candidate, here's the client. Our job is to make a Salil Parekh understand why that job with Infosys was for him. And for Infosys to understand, or make them understand, why Salil Parekh is the most right candidate, or the best candidate for you, right? Only a human can do that. So one is that, but the second is, I think for you, all of you sitting here looking for future, I think you need to see how do you really stay relevant in the industry. And the biggest thing, I heard that word, Nishit, you spoke about it as well, is the curiosity. You are seeing change around you. Don't just see it. Look for opportunities and be absolutely curious, because curiosity is what drives innovation. If you see something and neglect it, don't question and don't look what it does and how it does it, you will actually not look for any solutions and and explore possibilities. So the biggest thing for all of you is curiosity. Curiosity is what will motivate to create, to be creative, right? So I think pick that and think about what that means for each of you.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Your take, sir.
So, Dr. Rizvi, just to remind myself, the question was advent of artificial intelligence and human intelligence.
Yeah, that's right.
AI versus HI. So, first of all, my personal take, both will coexist.
Okay.
Okay. That's just to settle some fears in the room. Okay.
Good idea.
Two. Now, what did we compare? We said AI versus HI. Now there is a new phenomena which is very, very recent, and it is not AI. AI has existed for some time. Machine learning has existed for some time. Bank computerization in India started in 1986. What we do today on our mobile banking, the seeds of these were sown that many years back. So it has taken that many years for us to be here, the fintechs and everything that we spoke about. The speed is much more. What has now started is generative AI. Okay? I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but there is a AI legislation pending to be made in EU. Now, EU, if you look at globally on technology front, they are the ones who have been at the forefront of legislating privacy, legislating data security, legislating a lot of stuff. There is an AI bill which is pending EU Parliament for more than 3 years, And every time they update it, it looks like there is something new coming up. So they have to factor that in. Okay? Generative AI is something that we haven't heard before. The essential difference is that the ability to generate something new has been handed over to machines. When we say generative AI, we talk, LLMs, we talk neurons, we talk GPUs, all of these are technological terms. We talk computation and computing capabilities which are far, far beyond, and they have evolved. Believe me, I'm in that industry where GPUs is a hot selling product today. I'm not sure how many of you track NVIDIA share prices. NVIDIA share prices have gone through the stratosphere. Just look at their 3-year trend. NVIDIA GPU chips are just not available in any of the cloud service provider. So one of the things which Oracle is doing better is because we have a arrangement and we do have those chips, but they're not readily available. I mean, we had a customer who wanted GPU chips. We said, hey, 3 months. So there are things which are happening. Now the point is this: there is no legislation today. The point of worry is this: there is no legislation today which puts a cap on what all generative AI should be allowed to do. Today, you can have generative AI recreate your voice. It can recreate with a few photographs of yours. It can create a movie of yours. In your voice. Those are very, 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 I would say these are very basic stuff which a generative AI can do. Generative AI has already written novels and, all that stuff. And then you would have heard horror stories about how that novel ends, the bad man wins.
Yeah.
So there is this risk. I think human beings will ultimately put some caps around it, put some limits around it, so that generative AI doesn't simply change the way humans have evolved in history. Humans have practically been a dominant force on Mother Earth for millions of years now. However, there has been no force which has been more intelligent and more rapidly growing than human beings itself. And that is the worry which some researchers are right now, researchers, historians are right now expressing. I would say, stay calm, see what's happening, some legislation will take care of something. I do believe that something has to go wrong for it to be set right. I just wish that something that goes wrong has a minimal effect on any one of us. But it would be set right, okay? Now going forward, one of the things which I have mentioned in one of the earlier sessions, and I think it's very important for you as you set out into the corporate world or do something on your own, is who you are going to compete with. And my simple answer to that always has been, you are going to compete with technology. So keep yourself relevant, keep yourself updated, and stay calm. With or without your smartphones. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very heartening thing to hear. But I was just wondering, when you say the possibilities of generative AI, probably these guys would be very curious to know, can they write examinations also on their behalf?
So I'm not sure about the examinations, but don't be surprised if some of the projects that they are submitting are already using ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, we put through plagiarism software to check it out. Yeah, that's right. I mean, those kinds of things are happening, and very interesting thing is that most of the technology, all this technology that we're talking about, were developed by Western nations who had slowly inching towards, or rather rapidly moving towards, a very aging population. And therefore, for them it was very important to have technology which can replace people. I mean, in that concept of Industry 4.0 came in Germany by one of the ministers because they were worried about, and they were not interested in importing people from other nations, just so that the German culture is not spoiled. But that's how it is. Probably given a chance to India, we would not have developed that. India and China, we said, no, we'll go ahead with our people first. But nevertheless, that's a different story. Now, time by my watch is 18:02. So we have already crossed the limit, but are you there with us? Say yes. Thank you very much. So now we'll open it up for your question. Okay? Questions from the audience. While you are asking questions, identify yourself, okay? The program that you are in, the year that you are in, and then shoot your question. Yeah, that one. Okay, fair enough. And
Hi.
stand up.
Hi. So my question is to Mr. Conver. So the question is like you said, direct technology is growing, like it's coming in and going out as well. It's getting outdated also. So in future, you can see that the technology will be similar to a lot of companies around, be it Oracle, Microsoft, or any other company. So what will be the differentiating factor altogether in the companies that technologies are going to be same in future, and how they are going to be differentiating with them within themselves, and what products they are putting out.
Okay. Your name and etc. etc.
Jayant Arora.
Jayant and?
So I'm in the executive batch.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Okay, thank you very much.
So thank you, Jayant, for that question. See, technology is a big leveler. At the same time, technology is also a very big differentiator. And I won't get into specific brands in terms of how they will stay relevant in terms of technology or not. I think there is enough innovation happening on the technology front for a lot of companies to not just stay relevant, but to continue to grow. In fact, one of the fears about HI versus generative AI also is that the nature of jobs will shift, and it will shift towards that higher intelligence level where very few people will make a lot of money. That's one of the fears, okay? But coming back to your question per se, while the technology is a big leveler, the point also is how you use it, okay? I've been in discussion with CFOs where, both of us are using same technology platform, okay? But, the other person was awestruck with just what all we could achieve with the same technology vis-a-vis what they were able to achieve, right? So how you use it makes a lot of difference. Okay? And that is a very simple way of saying it. It needs a lot of detail, how you have implemented it, how you have designed it, what things you are leveraging it. Most importantly, and that is as of today, how have the people adopted to those processes per se? I think all those factors come into play, and that differentiates performance. There is one example, and if you're getting bored with Kodak as an example, just another example which is now very much apparent. Toyota still produces most number of automobiles in the world. Tesla produces a fraction of what Toyota produces, but Tesla's market valuation is 10 times that of Toyota.
Is to Converser. So basically, I have worked in the software backend software developer side of major banks, European banks. So they still use mainframe technology. Technology by IBM, wherein it is considered to be secure and has zero downtime error as compared to the cloud, wherein the companies are wanting to shift to cloud these days. But doesn't it pose a security concern when we are shifting from mainframe technology, which has existed for like 60 plus years, and now shifting to cloud? So doesn't it pose a security threat for the banking industries in particular?
So I'll simply address straight to the point. Mainframe is a technology which is quite old. The evolving technologies that now exist are much faster, much more secure. There are chip level securities built in. We can have an offline chat in terms of what's happening in Europe. But I'm aware of the largest European bank switching over to what's now called as cloud at customer, or it's a private cloud. When you say private cloud, it is basically within the firewalls of the bank, but you're still availing it as a service. Okay, and that's the way some of these highly sensitive things are moving to cloud. U.S. Department of Defense is one of the largest customers as far as cloud services are concerned. Yes, they have specifications which are not public, okay, but there are people involved, including my present employer, who have created those very secure government defense private clouds.
For someone like the US with all kinds of secrecies to be maintained, etc. And very critical information. So that
Department of Defense obviously is 10 levels above what a bank will require, right? So
Absolutely. All right, with cyber crimes and all those stuff happening. Next question, very quickly. Yes, ma'am.
Just go ahead.
All questions are for you.
Generative AI, and we are told that if we won't adapt to the change or adapt to the technology, we would be left behind. So how we as individuals can draw the line where to stop from being overpowered by generative AI? This question is a bit fueled from a web series I saw on Netflix, Black Mirror, if you would have heard of it. It is like highly based on how generative AI can overpower human beings.
Excellent. What's your name and then etc. etc.
I'm Sarah Kaushik. I'm from HR first year batch.
Okay. She will answer that, and
Sure.
maybe I will add.
So if you look at, I think that's the difference, right? Sorry, your question was. Yeah, please,
go
if
ahead
you can
quickly.
repeat.
Yeah, so I'm asking that we're told that if we won't adapt to technology and to change, we would be left behind. But since generative AI is coming up, so how can we know as individuals where to draw the line for not letting that?
I think first of all, what everything generative AI throws at you is, as per Nishit's point, has been fed to generative AI, right? If Mayank doesn't go out to the shopkeepers and look for that data and their experiences firsthand, and because that's not yet in generative AI, he's not going to get it, right? But he will still believe what he heard from the retail stores than actually believing generative AI. So I think in recent scenario, whatever generative AI is throwing at you, I think you need to be cognizant of the fact that you don't take it as at face value. Ask questions, look for authentication, and then take it. It should help you do work faster, but you should not believe what it throws at you.
Yeah, and just to add, don't worry too much about Netflix. It will take care of itself. Okay, it did not exist a decade back or 15 years back. So there are some things which are done for commercial purposes, right? There's always an element of fiction, so just avoid that. That's why what I said, stay calm. That's what I said. As far as generative AI is concerned, the first thing you need to do is you stay calm. Because if you lose your cool, you will allow something else to, or someone else to, overtake whatever. So stay calm, stay alert. You have a good future. Don't worry.
All right. Shall we stop with the questions, or shall we take one last one? Oh yes, go ahead.
Very good evening, everyone. Thank you for the enriching session. I'll not take much time, but I just wanted to clarify. I have a question for Mayank sir. I've had the honor of, attending your guest lecture. So I just wanted to clarify that on one hand, you're talking about generating employment. And on the other hand, Googles of the world are laying off people. And it's majorly because of, I think it's because of the AI that's been going around. So how to make sense of all of this? Like a few years back, there was no, post like chief information officer. New posts are coming up. So how to make sense of all of this and how to, stay relevant, as you said. Hi everyone, my name is Ashi. I'm from the PGTM core batch.
I'll be honest, I've got a lady on the right. She's with one of the world's largest leadership, advisory. They work with top, and I think she'll be better placed to answer it. But I just have one. So I will not answer it because I think you have a much better insight and you can give a real example. But as I said, when your consumer base is a mass consumer base, which is non-digitized, obviously you will have a large workforce which is serving this consumer base. If it is a consumer base which is digitized, so most of the firms which, the tech firms which work in India, I might be saying it a bit controversial, but the real top-end technology and work is happening in the West. We were first the back offices for the IT world. We are now maybe the back offices for the data world. And therefore, I think in India it will not have major impact because that is the advantage of India is the knowledge, but also the lower cost of labor. But I think you're better informed to answering that. But I'll have one small comment because when I always see the students and we're talking about disruption, I think you guys should not wear the same dress because as an employer or as an external person, you see diversity when people are wearing, let's say, different colored blazers at least. And I think that will change your mind. It will help you be an individual and not be part of one setup. So maybe aap agar isko bole, so we should break this norm from the school mode.
So your name was?
My name is Ashi.
Ashi. Ashi, don't think and see too much into it.
Yeah.
These are business cycles. Has been happening for last 100 years or more than that and will continue to happen. Okay. These are just actions because they overhired. Okay. So it's a bad business decision and it's a symptom or a aftermath of a bad business decision. I think this is what distinguishes companies from each other. Typically when companies fire, one made a bad decision and they had to obviously fire. Second is they're also acting as being very short-sighted. Okay. You will see, I've been in this cycle in my own industry, in my own capacity as a leader. I've seen this cycle at least after I passed out from IMI at least 4 times. Okay. And all these 4 times, I told my management team when I used to be junior, please don't do that because after 6 months, you're going to come and tell me, hire. So it's short-sightedness sometimes. And a lot of times, it's a bad decision. In India also, you're talking about Googles of the world outside, but in India also, a lot of tech firms fired, right? Amazon's fired. Because they overhired, the leaders did not anticipate something coming up. They did not do their budgeting properly, and they overhired, and then they had to fire. They could have kept all of those people if they were different than the others, and think about it. You know, there's a beautiful quote, I'm forgetting the name of the person, but they say, it's very easy to drive fast when it's not raining. But it's very difficult to drive fast when it's raining and it's snowing, right? Think about it. A company who overhired and did not make that bad decision and kept all those employees, the moment the economy goes up, will not have to hire. And they will be much faster than their competition. And there are a lot of firms who haven't fired, but they're not in the news because they did not do stuff like that, right? So you're only seeing human mind now, you only see something which is drastic and negative. And it's nowhere in the newspapers or in the media that company X did not, even though they overhired, they did not fire. Because that's not, doesn't create sensationalize things,
Exactly.
right? So it's not in the media, but they're both kind of people who exist.
Thank you very much. I think it's time we close the questions. That's a very interesting question Ashi raised, and we have had, the batch that graduated last year, we have been talking about, and this is something, Manu, could be very much up your street. I'm not raising a question. There was this entire concern was that some of the big tech companies and big organizations like Deep Pockets, etc., they did not bat an eyelid while firing people. And simultaneously, we talk about employee engagement and talent management and stuff like that. So there seems to be a contradiction. At one level, we want to retain people that, and want employees to get engaged. Okay. At other level, when there is a slight slump in business or that some challenge comes in, these people are fired. So in this kind of an environment, how do you expect organization to think long-term association with the organization when they know jolly well that tomorrow some crisis comes up, they're out. Okay. Now, this is a food for thought for all of us. And it was a wonderful discussion in the class with your seniors, and something which we kind of resolved at the end of the day, when you realize that the boat is sinking, and if the boat sinks, everyone who is traveling in it is going to sink. And if there is an option that if we can reduce the weight by throwing one or two people, okay, what option would you take? Retain everyone and sink, or throw one or two and still keep afloat and save a lot of people? And so this comes from, if your mother-in-law is one of them who's to be thrown, and your own mother, who would you throw? But we are not going to go on to that path. We had a wonderful discussion, okay, with the time limitation, and I still have not been able to understand RUPT, because these guys keep on confusing me. We started off with what we call VUCA, and then came BANI, and then came RUPT. I can deal with technology, but not these terminologies. That huge limitation in me. And thank you very much, audience, for paying attention. And there was one question which I wanted to ask them, but thankfully they answered it on their own, keeping in mind your concern. So technology is there, and is going to be there, and is going to play a more intrusive roles in our life everywhere. It is going to create disruptions, and life is not going to be the same as it has been. Now, we many times embrace technology, but everything, it's like a knife with two edges, cuts, saves, and we have to decide how to. But we cannot change it. So as they say, that if you cannot change it, embrace it. Now, in order to be able to successful, to be able to thrive, to be able to make the most of whatsoever life has to throw at us, there are few things which my friends have already suggested, and I'll just quickly, just to remind you, because I saw some of you taking notes, and rest of you depend upon your AI, because I don't know whether it's true intelligence or artificial one. So I think one of the best things that was said, which Kamal said, is that stay calm, don't worry too much. And when he says stay calm, which also means that be confident that you will be able to deal with it, because you cannot remain calm if you don't have confidence. You cannot remain confident if you're not optimistic that you would be able to deal with it. So stay calm, stay curious, stay confident that you can. And second part, the curiosity part, is that things are not going to remain the same, except that there is going to be a change. So therefore, your curiosity is going to help you deal with it before it actually happens. Okay? Rather than reacting, you can be proactive in terms of visualize what may happen and prepare yourself today itself what may happen tomorrow. And this is something, curiosity is very, very important, which means in order to remain curious, you keep asking questions. You do not take things as a gospel truth. As we say, Shashwat Satya. There aren't very many. And therefore, you got to be curious and got to be agile. Keep learning. Okay? Keep evolving. This is what Manu said. And by being, calm, curious, confident, okay, evolving, we will stay relevant for whatsoever time that we face. And if we do this, then technology will not annihilate us, but will ride the technology. Because technology, the way it is available now, it is creating a level playing field all over the world. Particularly for some of us who are very, very tech savvy. I can say about us Indians that we are very tech savvy. We know it, we embrace it very, very fast. And I fully agree with Nishit, what he talked about is that develop this problem solving skills in you. Because at the end of the day, more and more what is going to matter is your brain rather than the brawn. So hit the gym to keep a healthy body, but work on your brains, because that's what is going to help you earn your bread, butter, and jam and cheese. Okay? Enjoy life as it is. Have this adventure that we are on, and I'm sure you'll get everything that you need. And of course, last piece, remain humanitarian, care for people. Okay? Don't allow, for example, the technology to dominate over you. The other day I was thinking, and the last piece from my side is that, how many phone numbers do I remember? And I realized that no more than 2, 3. And I never feel the need of really remembering, because I dig into my pocket and dial the number. And I think you need to start remembering things. Because at the end of the day, the other day my phone conged off and I had to call up home. And thankfully I remembered one number. And I realized that how difficult it would have been had I not remembered that. So I suppose over-dependence is also not a good idea. Somewhere or the other, this attribute of human beings, which differentiates us from other creatures, has to be nurtured. And for that, play Sudoku, do all kinds of brain exercises, so that this remain agile forever, as it is agile right now. Thank you very much, RAC, for giving me this opportunity. Give a big hand to our friends over there. For a very wonderful job done by each one of you. Okay, and Nishit, this could be the first visit, but this is not the last. And we hope to see you. So everyone who comes to IMI once becomes part of the family. Okay, so we are proud to have you here, and we are happy to have you. And Mayank has been coming in often, and I would request Mayank, send us what do you sell in terms of health food that you have, so that we can also, have the benefit of it. And all these guys are now looking for an opportunity, some of them for summer internship and some of them for finals ones. And if you want really tech savvy, problem solving, dedicated and committed people to join your team, they are there with you. Thank you very much, people. Thank you.
On behalf of everyone present here, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the guest speakers, Mr. Kanwar Singh, Mr. Mayank Sinha, Ms. Manu Dangi, and Mr. Nishit Gupta, for taking out time from their busy schedule and sharing their thought-provoking insights with all of us. Post this session, we feel more aware and equipped to understand the innovative practices in today's business environment. I would like to take this opportunity to once again thank Dr. Irfan Rizvi for consenting to be our moderator for this session and making it highly interactive. Now we would request Dr. Irfan Rizvi to kindly present the cherished mementos to our esteemed guest speakers. We would like to call upon Mr. Kanwar Singh on stage for felicitation.
I'm so very happy, every time you go, there comes a lady with a tray. I've changed that, and I think give a big hand to.
Now we would request Dr. Irfan Rizvi to felicitate Ms. Manu Dangi with a token of gratitude. Now we would request Dr. Irfan Rizvi to felicitate Mr. Mayank Sinha with a token of gratitude. We would now request the Secretary of Residential Affairs Council, Kritika Gambhir, to present the cherished memento to our esteemed moderator. Yes, sir. With this, we conclude the Digital Transformation Summit. We are certain that this session has been very enlightening for each one of us present here. I would like to take this opportunity to commend all the guests, participants, speakers, professors, students, and the staff of IMI for making the session an unparalleled success.
We are honored to announce our esteemed partners and sponsors for Conventus 2023 at IMI New Delhi. Their support and collaboration have been instrumental in making this event a resounding success. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Phoenix Global, Recode Studios, RPSG, Fresca, Power Grid Corporation of India, The Hindu, Easy Diner, Silco Retail Limited, Orient Electric, Business Standard, The Tarzan Way, Segal Doors, Safe Express, Bank of India, ICICI Bank, Ada 52, and the Mad Over Donuts. Thank you all for this wonderful and interactive session. Now I would like to invite all the panel members, organizing committee, and the student council to come forward for a group photograph.